on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies, talking Bucks basketball. Steve Sparky, Fifer from Sports Radio 1250 WSSP, Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times, right here at RacineSportsZone.com. As we talk about the Bucks, Gery, they still haven't won since the last time we talked. They've now lost six straight.
That was last March?
Yeah, right. 6 straight they've now lost, and this team is not going in the right direction. Now, they do get Ersan Ilyasova back, and they got Caron Butler back for the game against Portland. That clearly wasn't enough because they still didn't have enough talent to win that game.
But they're going to get back on track. They're starting their big playoff push this coming week.
The next 2 weeks, they got a bunch of teams that are all beatable. They're beatable. They're the second worst record in the NBA. But teams that might have the opportunity.
They got a 9-game stretch, and they're all against teams that have sub 500 records. So at least you go in and say, hey, they got a legitimate shot to win these games. The big news coming out of Bucks camp is that Brandon Knight was going to practice on Thursday. And if he comes back, Ridenour came back the other day. He looks great. He played, I forgot how many minutes, was it 20-some minutes? Their starting backcourt is going to be pretty solid. Now it's just a matter of chemistry. Do they have a superstar? No, but we knew that going into the season.
If they think Brandon Knight is ready, let's hold on another week. Seriously,
you got a point there.
The last time you thought he was ready, he came back hurt the hamstring again.
Well, you know what?
I think he's ready, Bucks. Just wait another week. What does it matter? You're the second worst record in the NBA. Just wait another week and then bring him.
I talked to Brandon the other night, and he actually is ready to go. And the trainers are holding him back, so they are heeding your advice to be a little cautious.
You can't hold anybody back long enough when you have 2 hamstring injuries in the first month of the season.
You know where they really miss Brandon Knight, though? Number one, he penetrates more than the other 2 guys do. Ridenour is more of a perimeter guy. Nate Walters has been kind of reluctant. He'll take it every once in a while. Every once in a while. But nobody has the athleticism of Brandon Knight among those 2 other guys. And the other thing, most glaring, is his defense. You and I have talked about this in the past. I think in fact, I talked to a GM the other day, and I threw this out there. I said, I really think he's one of the top 10 defensive point guards in the NBA, and he said he wouldn't argue with that. So he was probably just being nice, right?
No.
Seriously,
that's great. But this team needs somebody to score. I'm glad he can play defense. That's wonderful. And that's where, but you can't score 85 points a night and expect to win basketball games in this league.
No, you can't. And that's where Ersan Ilyasova has to, get healthy or healthier. He played the other night, and he did okay. But you could tell. They actually had a guy that could stretch the 4 spot. They didn't have everybody down low because outside of Henson, they don't have any interior scoring at all. 0.
I don't understand why Epe Udoh would ever start a basketball game for this team. I don't. You had John Henson and you started Epe Udoh. Now, granted, he was coming off a double-double. You look back prior to that double-double this year, he's never had more than 5 rebounds in a game. And I don't believe he was in double digits any other game this year either.
You
seriously cannot be starting Epe Udoh over Ersan or Henson. Now, I know Ersan's coming off of injury. What I've learned with Larry Drew is we always bring guys off the bench when they come off of injury for the first game or 2. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping Friday night in Philadelphia that Ersan is back in the starting lineup, Epe Udoh is back buried on the bench, and we move forward.
You know what's scary talking about Epe Udoh? He was drafted by the Golden State Warriors.
Lottery pick, got hurt the first year.
And I was talking to a friend of mine who's an NBA scout, and he said, and Golden State is my favorite team. I just love the way they play. They give their players freedom to do whatever they want, basically, on offense. And Bogut's one of my favorite players. Klay Thompson might be my favorite player in the NBA. By the way, the guy the Bucks could have picked, but no, they had a
By the way, Golden State is horrible when Steph Curry is out. They can't score.
They're not.
They look as bad as the Bucks scoring basketball.
But my point is,
they are. They're averaging like 78 points without Steph Curry over his career in Golden State.
But that's horrible. Over his career. But what I'm talking about this year, they got Iguodala.
Last night they were in the 70s.
They do. But when Klay Thompson is on, when Iguodala is on, David Lee's on, they got scores.
People all play.
They do. They can play. But here's my point. As good as the Golden State is, and I think they got a legitimate shot to get to the Western Conference Finals.
I agree.
Can you imagine if they would have taken, instead of Epe Udoh, Greg Monroe?
Yep.
I mean, you talk about draft day decisions. What if they would have switched him and put Monroe in that lineup with David Lee, with Bogut? I mean, hindsight, obviously, and things would have been different.
David Lee would not be there.
Probably not.
They would have had Greg Monroe.
But you don't know. But, I mean, can you imagine how good they would have been?
Well, Greg Monroe's going to be a free agent, so they're going to have a crack at him. Everybody's going to have a crack at Greg Monroe. If you want to come to Milwaukee, Greg, we'd welcome you with open arms here in the Milwaukee Bucks organization. Come on over. It's real nice. A couple other guys.
Argument there.
Yeah, a couple other guys just to talk about here.
Yeah.
O.J. Mayo turns an ankle, plays 25 minutes. They cannot win. Cannot win if Mayo is not chucking up 15 to 20 shots a night. They just can't.
I agree. You know what? Mayo has to become their big time scorer.
He's got to be selfish.
He no question.
And I don't think he is a selfish player, but he has to be.
No. And you know what? And I think Ursan's going to help him because last couple of games they've been definitely aware of Mayo. They figure
out 2 guys out.
Yeah, we stopped Mayo. What offense is Milwaukee going to throw at us? So if Ursan can come along and get him at least 15 points, if not more, all of a sudden they got to respect Ursan on the perimeter. That opens up for Mayo. And if Knight comes back, Knight is a very good penetrator. So your Bucks are looking up. I haven't lost faith in this team. Actually, I like this team going forward.
On the Pick and Save basketball postgame show that we do after Bucks games, last night my producer, Mayor Mitch, came up with what we call the tank rank. And we'll do the tank rank every night, the tank rank board, and see where the Bucks are as far as having the worst record in the league. Last night, Utah lost again, so unfortunately, the Bucks lost, didn't get them anywhere. So
it doesn't matter.
They are second worst record in basketball with 2 wins. Utah has 1. The problem is, though, Utah has played quite a few more games.
The key is not to get the worst record in the NBA, because how many times is the worst team in the league got the number?
I just want to be one of the worst.
Because of that asinine lotteries.
I want to be one of the worst 5 at the end of the year.
Huh?
One of the worst 5. I don't have to be the worst, but if I'm one of the worst 5, I feel good. I feel like we got a shot at it.
Well, according to Gery Woelfel's mock draft, if you get into the top 7, you're going to get a very good player.
Yeah,
that's where my draft.
Depending on what it all depends. I mean, who your 6 and 7 guys are.
Yeah,
because your top 4 guys are. We all know the top 4. But now you get to 5. Now, who's 5? 5 has got to be Dante Exum, probably from Australia.
Well, wait a second.
Top 5.
Some people got him number 1.
Some people got him 2 or 3, right.
Yeah, okay.
So he's in the top 5.
Where's your top 4?
Well, the 4 guys we already know. Wiggins, Parker, Julius Randle,
right.
and Aaron Gordon.
Those 3 are clear-cut.
Absolutely.
No.
And Exum, and Dante Exum is in it.
Right.
So those 4.
Gordon is not a clear-cut 4 or 5.
For me, he is.
Oh, I see. Okay.
For me, he is. Okay. He's definitely there. So that's 5. Marcus Smart at Oklahoma State is 6. And then after that, throw it up in the air and see what happens.
I
like Joel Embiid.
There you go.
I like him.
He's on my top 7 list.
Yep.
And the reason is he's only played basketball 2 years, basically, and he's already emerged.
Sounds like a perfect Bucks player. A nice big project. By the time they're 30, him and Giannis will have it figured out. Just joking, of course, but kind of serious. Larry Sanders was raw. Still is.
So was Brandon Jennings. They're all a draft. Joe Alexander was raw. So that's one issue we could talk about forever about how they select players. But my big push is that the Bucks make a trade, and hopefully sooner than better, to get a big guy. And we'll see.
Why?
I got something in mind. You'll have to read my column next week.
No. Is it about getting us better?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. We're against it. Don't write it. Don't give them any ideas. No. I will bring people down here and picket this Journal Times building if you even suggest anything of the sort.
Hey, who were the jokers that walked around the Bradley Center a couple of years ago with bags on their heads?
Suggest trading Ursan. Suggest trading Butler. Suggest trading Ridnour. Suggest trading anybody on this team. But do not suggest bringing back anybody that's going to make this team any remotely.
I got a trade that I threw at 3 NBA officials in the last week, and they all agreed. So we'll see what happens.
I don't like it. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky of the Racine Journal Times.
Tune in next week and we'll fill you in.
I have no idea what the trade is, but if it's about making us better, I'm against it. Enjoy the rest of your day here at RacineSportsZone.com.
Mr. Positive.
Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.